stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
We've had a week off between this week and Pocono, but we are here for round number 23. We have 1 month to go in the regular season here for the Rowdy Energy Cup Series season, presented by Rowdy Energy and the iRacing East Series. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. A last-second switch here. Had a little bit of an issue here tonight, but we are on air with myself and Tony Trapasso, who will be here in just a moment for what will be round number 23 of this season here from Watkins, Glen International here in upstate New York. Right now, as it sits, with just under 4 minutes to go in this practice session, Brandon Lowe's the quickest car on track right now. Greg McConey, Connor Trafari not that far behind him, about another tenth and a half back to the 20 of Javon Cherry. Greg LeBlanc rounding out the top 5 as we see that's Cody Strom on screen right now, losing the back end going through turn number 6 here, the penultimate corner on this circuit. So as we get into the race tonight, again, only 4 more races to go. Only 4 more races to go until we hit the regular season finale and start playoff racing here for the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. We have tonight, we have next week at the Indianapolis Road Course. After that, 2 weeks from now, it'll be Michigan, and then we go to Daytona for the final race of the regular season. Tony, I think I heard you. This is going to be an interesting night. All of the road courses have been very, very intriguing to watch this season in this new car. Tonight is going to be no different.
Well, that's what this car was really designed for, is going after the road courses. To kind of help improve the racing over the sluggish and very difficult to change direction current crop of vehicles that NASCAR runs. But the one thing, and I'm not sure if you already mentioned this or not, but the one thing you and I both noticed during the hot lap session, the early part of the hot lap session, is it looks like the top of the S's, where Connor Trafari is going right now with, I believe that's Brandon Lowe's in front of him.
That's Javon Cherry.
That's Javon Cherry then. But where those two guys were just coming through at the very top of the S's just before you get to the back chute, that's going to be Calamity Corner tonight, because the track starts to go negative camber and it falls away from you and it's off kilter, and the car gets really light through that part. And what you pointed out is the one thing that we're going to be looking for is cars are either going to lose all 4 tires or they're going to back it into the wall in that area. And we've seen more than more than our fair share of drivers have to go to the backup car already.
Yeah, and that's it. The corner is going to do one of 2 things in practicing in anticipation of actually driving in this event. Once you get to the top of the hill, like once you get to the middle of the curbing at the middle of the left-hand S, turn 3, that's where the car is going to either do one of 2 things. It's either going to come around completely, or it's going to wash out to the right, making that right-hander at the top of the hill going onto the straightaway into the inner loop. It's going to make that corner very, very difficult as we watch Nicholas Wing here go up the hill. And right around here is where you're going to start to feel the car do one of those 2 things. And you saw how hard that thing pushed out to the right. It's really going to depend how hard you're pushing up that hill. In the current crop of Cup cars, you can run that thing wide open going up that hill. These things, you absolutely cannot do that.
Yeah, no. While you were watching Nick Wing, the car in front of him, Cody Strom, was 8 different kinds of sideways coming through that area. But, it's one of those areas where you're going to have to burp it as you crest that knoll and then roll back into the throttle. You can't just stab it because you've already got the suspension unsettled going through that area. All you're going to do by stabbing the throttle is just making that car just break loose and swap ends.
Single car qualifying here, 10 minutes to get 2 laps in here. These guys have 4 sets of tires for tonight's race. 1 fast repair is on offer for these guys tonight. Only 1 caution, that will be the competition caution, that will come out on lap 38. So when the leader takes lap 38, that is when the competition caution is going to come out. Caution laps are not going to count here in this event, which is different from previous road course races this season, as Trafari bins it coming out of the bus stop. We'll now turn our attention to the 27 of Greg LeBlanc. But different from other road courses, the fact that caution laps are not counting here, something you would see more predominantly on dirt than here on asphalt.
Well, I can understand why they're doing it. It's to make sure that, these guys are supposed to be racing for 48 laps. They're going to make sure that they race for 48 laps. And I gotta say, I'm liking the direction that the league management is going with this race, trying something new, trying to see how it works, seeing how the drivers like it, seeing how the fans like it. And for those of you watching at home, go ahead and let us know in the live chat what you think about caution laps not counting, because it's a road course. A full course caution is a very rare occurrence. The only place you're probably ever going to see it tonight, other than that competition caution that they're going to throw on the start of lap 38, is if the track is completely blocked, then they're going to have absolutely no choice but to throw the dreaded yellow and try to get everybody sorted back out.
A lot of guys having resets here on this first lap. We saw Brandon Lowe's have an issue coming out of turn 7. Decided to jam on him and not take the first lap. Greg LeBlanc coming through right now. He will be the first driver to actually set a time, and he is purple through the first sector of 3 here at Watkins Glen. That has just been taken from him. We'll take a look and see what LeBlanc has. It'll be a 13.4, so about 2 seconds off what the fastest lap in practice was. Here comes Brandon Lowe's. We'll see what he can do, and Lowe's will do a lap that will not count on this first one. Here's Connor Trafari, purple in the first sector, personal best second. As Trafari been one of the guys to beat on the road courses, the man currently sitting second in points. As Trafari comes across the line, he will go a 1:11.92, so a very good time for Connor Trafari, and that's about where he was during the practice session. Here's Ryan Decker. And Decker will go 1:24.7, so slow on his first lap. Greg McConey coming through 6 and 7 with a big slide through turn 6 for McConey there. And that will ruin what was otherwise a very good lap for the driver of the number 12.
Yeah, absolutely. And you really hate to see that happen, as Brandon Lowe's coming around to complete his first official lap. Jumps him up to second quick. So, that was kind of a safer lap. Uses all of turn 1, gets a good run, and up the hill he goes.
He was the fastest of all in the practice session. Here's Trafari right now. Personal purple in the second sector, slower in the third, as Connor will better his qualifying time at a 1:11.48. So that was faster than I think we saw in the practice session. Let's take a look at Ryan Worley's 00.
The lap was faster than he put up in the practice session, but still has about 300ths to get what Brandon Lowe's cranked off.
Here is Ryan Worley. The 00 racing for Jesus Machine. Greg McConey comes around at a 1:14.0, so he does not improve. Brandon
Lowe's had a big moment coming out of 8. He had to chase it all the way down the track and almost hit the pit wall.
And did improve on his time. Ryan Worley does not. J.D. Woodward on track right now. Woodward in that number 47, sporting the scheme that ended up in victory lane yesterday. Woodward personal bests all the way around here in this session. We'll see what he does on the first lap. It's a 12:53, so a good time for Woodward puts him third at the moment. He's the only one out on track on a hot lap right now. Javon Cherry is on his warm-up lap. Jason Papp, Shane Newens, and Henry Wyndham having not yet taken time. And they still have time to do it. About 3:45 to go here in this session.
Well, they're going to have enough time to get one flyer in anyways. But they've got to go soon. And the reason why they're waiting is because the track temperature is north of 100 degrees right now. And I can guarantee you, those of you from the central New York area, no, it's not today's date in sim. Because we were pushing almost 90 around here earlier today.
So as we saw J.D. Woodward blow through the inner loop there on his qualifying attempt. There's Javon Cherry's qualifying attempt, his first lap. Shane Newens is in pit lane but is yet to roll. So right now all focus lies on the number 20 of Javon Cherry. One of the favorites coming into the race tonight. It's very
Newens and Papp are going to have to roll soon if they're going to at least get one lap in.
Wyndham there as well. He hasn't set a time either. Cherry personal best through the first and second sector here on his qualifying lap. 2 1/4 to go. He'll definitely get a second one in here at this rate. A little bit of a wiggle coming out of turn 7, but nothing too dramatic. As we'll see what Cherry can put up on lap number 1. It'll be a 1:11.91. Only the second one here in the session to crack that 1:11 barrier. Puts him up into second.
If Lowe's hadn't had to chase it down the hill coming out of 8, he probably would have been deep into the 11s as well.
Down to second gear going through that inner loop as we ride on board with him during this qualifying attempt. And you can hear how light he is on the throttle, and that goes back to what we were saying down at the other end of the racetrack as he comes out of the carousel now. These things are very touchy, and you have to respect these cars, as we found that out on all of the road courses so far this year. You cannot plant the throttle in these. These things will go back. These things will turn around on you before you have any chance to recover. And he is, Javon right now, not on a personal best. So he will set.
Well, I mean, if you figure you've got 900 horsepower trying to feed through 2 10-inch tires, or 10-inch wide tires anyways, that's not a lot of contact patch when you figure an Indy car is rolling a 15 wide.
Yeah, absolutely. As Javon was able to gain all of that time back in the second sector, put up a time that was about a 1/10.5 better than what he managed in the first lap. So with 25 seconds to go, Jason Papp, Shane Newens, and Henry Wyndham will start from the back of this 15-car field we have here for tonight. After tonight, only 3 races remain in the regular season, so points are going to matter. Race starts are going to matter as well, especially for drivers with wins trying to lock themselves into the chase to get their minimum 10 starts here this season. As we get set to go, qualifying officially done and dusted. And with that, we will go to the grid here for tonight's 15-car event. As on the pole, it will be Connor Trafari putting down a 1:11.479. Javon Cherry, 0.3 of a second behind him. Brandon Lowe's and J.D. Woodward coming, starting in the second row. Third row will be Greg LeBlanc and Ryan Worley, with Greg McConey and Mark McFadden making up row number 4.
Row 5 brings us Nick Wing and Cody Strom, with row 6 going to Kyle Klotz and Ryan Decker. Decker, the last one to actually post a time in the qualifying session. Jason Papp and Shane Newen's going to roll off in row 7. And if he can get into the session in time, starting shotgun on the field, going to be Henry Wyndham in the 15.
And as always, those 3 starting by I rating. So we will have 1 pace lap to get things going. Just waiting on Javon Cherry and Shane Newens to grid up here before we can start rolling. And just waiting on the Aussie in the number 98. And Tony, this is going to be a hectic race here for the first couple of laps. And then, as you would expect, this thing is going to start to spread out. You'll see little battles here and there. But for the most part, the first couple laps are going to be where you want to make your positions up.
Yeah, and the first time going through the S's, you've got to figure that you're going on cold tires, on a hot track, and they're going to be, a lot of these guys are going to try to do it side by side. And I'm thinking we're going to see at least more than one car eat hot garbage on that opening lap going through the S's.
Yeah, it's going through the S's, going down into turn 1 as well. The inner loop is going to cause some excitement here tonight, as well as Tony was mentioning. Let me try to make one quick adjustment to get that back into Imperial there. And there we go. So 70-degree ambient temperature, 105-degree track temperature is what's really going to be messing with these guys. Wind is rather calm here tonight, blowing 2 miles an hour. So this should be a rather calm race as far as wind intervention on these cars. But for 48 laps, this is going to be a tough race at a track that these guys should know fairly well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of those tracks that a lot of guys put in a lot of laps at. And, like I mentioned during qualifying, those of you from the central New York area know the in-sim time and date, it's not today, because I guarantee you it's not 70 degrees in the general area right now. And I'm looking at the thermometer right now. It's 82 in Auburn, New York, which is less than a half hour from the track.
Yeah, the standard iRacing date is usually May 15th. I'm honestly not sure what the significance of that date is. But that tends to be just the default date, May 15th. So as we get down into the start, Tony, what are you expecting?
Carnage.
Oh, there you go. Short and simple, at least for the first couple of quarters. So as Connor Trafari and Javon Cherry lead them through the final couple of corners here, pace car getting set to duck off. It is one of the classic road courses on the NASCAR schedule, and we are here for round 23. 48 laps from Watkins Glen International. We're green.
Trafari pulls the trigger, and he brings Lowe's with him as Lowe's pulls alongside of Javon Cherry, hauling it up in the turn 3 wide.
Yep, LeBlanc really made the look, but backed out of it wisely, and it looks as though everyone's going to get out of turn 1 okay. A position change, though, between Javon Cherry and Brandon Lowe's, the 2 Dream Team Inc. teammates, as they head up the hill chasing after the 48.
And everybody gets it sorted out behind them, as they were too wide at the bottom of the S's, and they got it sorted out real quick. But I dare say that move from LeBlanc probably scared everybody behind him. Everybody was jumping on the binders trying to make sure they got the hell out of the way, as right now Trafari leads it through the carousel for the first lap.
scared everybody around him as well, as we are rather clean here on this first lap. Again, first of 48. As closest battle on track right now is between these top three. Look a little bit further behind. There's J.D. Woodward in the 6th position, and around he goes in turn 6. Back end comes around, just braked a little too late for that corner, and Woodward now has an almighty hill to climb.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of those deceptive corners. And when you got the tires warm, yeah, you can go as hard as he was trying to go, but these guys are still rolling cold tires right now, and you can't brake that late going into turn 7, or else you're putting it on the beach.
19 of Kyle Klotz has also had a moment, as he now battles J.D. Woodward for position. Nicholas Wing trying to fend off a battle from the 26 of Cody Strome, while trying to catch up with Mark McFadden.
Connection issues for the 00 of Worley.
I had noticed that and wasn't quite sure what had happened, but Ryan Worley did not take the start with these guys. Yep, there it goes. So take a look and see again what happened to J.D. Woodward. This is going into turn 6. One of the better overtaking points on the racetrack here today. And Kyle Klotz going through the final corner, turn 7, able to keep it down and off of the inside Armco. And while we were looking at these two replays, Cody Strome has had an off. Going into turn 6 as well. This time he goes straight off in turn 6 instead of backwards. And that's unfortunately what could happen, as he just barely clips that tire wall.
And this is quickly turning into a race of 2 and a race of 3 at the front of this field, as Brandon Lowe's keeping Connor Trafari honest up at the front. Then you've got a little bit of a gap back to Javon Cherry, Greg LeBlanc, and Greg Marconi.
Javon Cherry has fallen to 2.5 seconds off of the battle between these top two. These two are the only ones that have been able to put lap times in the 1:11s up right now. Everyone else, the fastest lap beyond these two is Greg McConey at a 1:12.64, as Brandon Lowe's gets a little too overeager going through turn 6, runs off a little bit, has to back off, loses about a second of time, as Greg LeBlanc and Greg McConey go side by side coming out of turn 7.
Well, now Marconi is capable of doing a 1:11. He did a 1:11.83 in the hot lap session. So he's got the pace. He's just got to get clear of the two guys in front of him and see what he can do to try to reel in Trafari and Lowe's, as Lowe's had a big moment coming through 7 and 8.
Yep, the top 4 cars right now are the 4. Pardon me, the top 4 cars right now are the 4 cars that put down a 1:11 in practice right now. Now, they're not necessarily in the order of speed that they were in practice, but these are the 4, Trafari, Lowe's, Cherry, and McConey. These are the 4 that did put pace down, as there's Jason Papp getting passed by J.D. Woodward, and you can see the paint scheme on the car. That is Jason Papp suffering from COVID-19 right now, which gives full context to the paint scheme he's running tonight.
And being a good teammate, Marconi's running a very similar scheme.
I might be seeing something a little bit different. There's Ryan Decker battling with Cody Strome through turns 6 and 7. Strome will take the position away from Ryan Decker. So there we see the 12 of McConey.
Slightly different logos on it, but very similar in styling.
Okay, so we are seeing 2 different schemes, because I'm seeing construction company on that number 12.
It is a construction company,
okay.
But it's a very similar layout to what's on Pap's car.
Okay, fair.
But this is definitely not the Ryan Decker I was expecting to see this season. He's had the struggle all season long so far, and on the faster tracks gets caught up in other people's dumpster fires, and just he hasn't had the pace in this car that we've seen in the past.
From the race lead, the race leader starting to cut you off there. Connor Trafari coming out of turn 7. Spins it on his own.
That would be 8, sir.
Oh, well. Take a look here. He's got in a little too deep. Tried to drift it out. Fortunately for him, doesn't touch anything, just slides into the pit entrance. As
side by side up the hill with Nick Wing right now, trying to figure out how to get by the 90 cleanly.
This has been one of the things that Trafari's had to worry about. Consistency, as Wing just completely blows the inner loop, allowing Trafari to go by. Shane Newen's now there as well. Newen's looking for the 6th position in that number 98, but for Trafari, it's been consistency around these road courses. He is incredibly quick around these road courses, and I would know he chased me down at Road America for quite some time on that final run there. But the consistency in making mistakes is right behind him. That was Newens and Wing hard into the wall in between 6 and 7.
Yeah, Newens he kind of got it wrong on corner exit and went up and tagged Wing. And there's another car behind him. I didn't quite see who that was.
It's Mark McFadden way off in the distance behind. And, boy, Wing blew the quarter completely, but it was Newens hitting the curb on the left. Jimmy jumps the curb into the grass, and that sends him straight off of corner exit. And that's what sends both of them around. And unfortunately for Nicholas Wing, who's not a normal participant here on the Monday night, in the Monday night series, we're used to seeing him on Friday nights. That was unfortunate for him, just got caught up. So we take a look at Cody Strom, who's also had an issue. So Strom going through the carousel. A little bit of a bump on the nose, and that's about it.
Big issue for Klotz as well.
So that was a little bit bigger for Strom than we had first seen. Kyle Klotz. This is going into 6. And just loses the back end in the middle of the corner. So see, Greg McConey might have had a problem.
Klotz got it all wrong going through 1 as well. Tagged the Armco on the inside on the exit.
Oh, a big hit for McConey. In turn 6 is the replay we're watching there. Just catches the grass and then has no control over the car. That's why he had gotten so close with Greg LeBlanc. And finally, this is the incident that Tony was talking about. This with Kyle Klotz going into 1. Loses the back end on acceleration out of T1. And now finally back to live pictures, as this is a battle for the 7th position, or pardon me, the 8th position between Shane Newens and Ryan Decker.
Yeah, Decker starting to turn some consistent laps. Newens seems to have a little bit better pace, though, even after the contact that he had with the 90 of Wing. Decker right now looks like he's just trying to hold on, get whatever he can, and hope for some attrition in front of him. And this does not bode well, as Newens is coming up to lap Wing. Could we be seeing a receipt?
I would doubt it, as there's the 90. He's taken his fast repair. Actually runs wide, locks it up and runs wide. Going through turn 1. Connor Trafari and Greg LeBlanc, however, battling each other. This going through the carousel. Trafari will take the position, and the pole sitters back up to fourth after his unfortunate mistake.
He got very lucky coming out of 8 that he didn't tag the pit in wall. All he maybe did was take a couple of millimeters of good rubber off those tires. Looks like Wing is still having problems negotiating this track. One of the easier road courses we're going to visit in this series. And if these guys are struggling this much here at the Glen, I'm wondering what we're going to see next week when we go to the road course at Indianapolis, because you know as well as I do, Frank, that's a very technical course.
It is a very technical course, and I've done a couple of laps there in anticipation for next week's race, and it is quite difficult to get around. That first sector can be a little bit of a handful, and then getting back from the infield up onto the oval layout can be quite tricky, as well as we're seeing Greg McConey now coming under threat from Connor Trafari. As Brandon Lowe's right now enjoying a 4.2 second lead over Javon Cherry. There he is. And then Javon is 8.2 seconds ahead of McConey and his battle with Connor Trafari at the moment.
Trafari's steadily reeling him in, almost half a second to the good that last time by the start-finish line. And, like you said, Trafari's had pace on the road courses all season. It's just self-inflicted wounds that have really cost him. Basically, he threw away a good battle at Road America with you, because he was trying to push too hard. And I think that's what we were seeing when he almost binned it coming out of 8 a few laps ago.
Trying to just pull that lead on Brandon Lowe's out. Ryan Worley has returned from his internet connection issues. He is 10 laps down at the moment. Is that 00? Jason Papp is in pit road. I can't see an insert. Well, we'll see right here. This is Papp in the 1. That's in turn 1. And Kyle Klotz is there as well, as with Ryan Worley having to negotiate a couple of incidents there. Take a look and see what happened to Klotz. This is Klotz going into 1. I think Worley's coming out of pit road here. Just loses it in the middle of turn 1. Jason Papp Papp's already in pit road here. So it's been quite interesting, because I think Trafari's had another off. At least if it was a minor one. About 1.8 off of McConey now. He was 1.5 the last time we left him. It's him going through the inner loop, completely blowing the inner loop.
And that goes back to what we were just talking about, of him pushing too hard, trying to... He's overdriving the car. If he just relaxes like we saw him do last season in the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series, brought to you by the iRacing East Series, he would have a lot better success. But right now, he just seems like he's pushing too hard.
It's Greg LeBlanc off track in turn 6. You saw the battle between J.D. Woodward and Mark McFadden, as Woodward was able to get the 6th position away from McFadden, but in front of them, LeBlanc had gone off, so that allowed both Woodward and McFadden to get around him. So Woodward now up to 5th, McFadden up to 6th. As we are seeing, as we expected here, Tony, the race is pretty well drawn out at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now this field's more strung out than a methadone clinic, and it's all going to be for naught when we get to lap 38 because competition caution, everybody's going to be bunched right back up. Use your final set of tires right there and just race it out for that last handful of laps. You're basically going to have a 10-lap dash for cash at that point.
It's Jason Papp on the access road that leads out of the racetrack in between turns 1 and 2.
Ooh!
As Papp has had a couple of big issues here tonight. Take a look and see this most recent one. This is coming through turn 1, just way too hard. Going into turn 1, swings the car around, and almost ended up leaving with the haulers. Now this one was a couple of laps ago. This is him coming out of pit road. He's trying to coast his way out of pit road, knowing that cars are coming.
LeBlanc just had an off going through turn 7.
There's Ryan Decker and Kyle Klotz there. LeBlanc, we'll take a look at him. He's now lost a couple more positions to both Shane Newens and Ryan Decker. So LeBlanc, who was as high as 4th here at one point, is no longer. He's down to 9th.
Cody Strom in the pits. Looks like he got turn 1 all wrong, possibly.
Kyle Klotz there as well as both the 19 and the 26 had a very rough evening.
Here cheapers!
Assuming Kyle Klotz.
Strom. Just before Papp ate the turn 1 wall, go take a look at what happened to the 26 as he got caught in the same Armco that Papp just barely missed.
Yep, that's the same exact spot. And then right after that, here comes Jason Papp in. So that is one thing I'm noticing about these cars. Is that these cars do tend to get stuck in walls more often than not when you have a big incident like that. Now we'll show something that isn't a wreck. This is Connor Trafari getting around Greg McConey. McConey spins the wheels off the curb outside the final corner, and that gives Connor Trafari clear and free reign into that 3rd position. McConey's not letting him get away, though.
No, he's not, but it doesn't help the fact that Marconi right now has a major aero disadvantage missing his hood.
He's been missing that since him spinning off of turn 6 around lap 5. As up front, it is Brandon Lowe's. A little bit of a wiggle there coming out of the carousel. Currently leading by 6.2 seconds over his teammate Javon Cherry. And then by another 7.7 over Connor Trafari, who has just gotten back into the top 3. What we'll do right now is we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching the Rowdy Energy Cup Series right here on ESPN. Don't go anywhere. We welcome you back here to Watkins Glen International, working lap 19 of 48 here at Watkins Glen. You're seeing right now on screen a battle for the 8th position between Ryan Decker in the 28, Greg LeBlanc in the 27, as there goes Connor Trafari trying to sneak it up the inside of the 27. Somehow does make it work. Now Trafari going around the outside of Ryan Decker.
Decker and LeBlanc still side by side going through turn 1 as LeBlanc runs Decker wide. Decker not going to be happy with him for that one.
Decker will lose the position. We saw there the back end also during the break. J.D. Woodward running off track, losing position to Mark McFadden going through the inner loop.
Nick Wing.
Yep, now he's got Shane Newens, Nicholas Wing in pit road right now. Cody Strom in pit road as well. As Shane Newens has a little bit of a wiggle there behind J.D. Woodward in the battle for 6th.
Yeah, Wing just got it all wrong going through the bus stop.
Brandon Lowe's has had an off as well from the race lead. We'll take a look and see what happened with him. Is going into the inner loop. Ooh, just caught a little bit too much of that right side curb on the entry to the inner loop. And then off in the background there is Nicholas Wing. As Tony had mentioned, having an off. Wing just completely flying through that inner loop, and give it about another month or so, and that place will be completely reconfigured. As we know, iRacing has rescanned this place, and this will probably be the last time we broadcast a race on this particular layout of Watkins Glen before it possibly, one, either gets an update, or two, becomes a legacy track. I would expect the latter of that, but still, this is more likely than not the last race we'll be broadcasting on this layout of Watkins Glen.
Well, that's generally been what iRacing has done in the past. When Michigan got its update, the original Michigan that they had scanned became a legacy track. Same thing with, I believe, Phoenix, and there's another one, and I'm drawing a blank right now as to what it is.
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Thank you.
So we see a battle for 5th brewing here. This is Mark McFadden, J.D. Woodward, and Shane Newens going through the carousel. And McFadden will give that position up for about the 3rd time to J.D. Woodward.
And not without a fight, though, is McFadden trying to battle back on the inside as they haul it down into turn number 7. Newens just kind of biding his time right now, wondering what these other two guys are going to do. Newens going to have the run out of 7 and leading into 8. McFadden under heavy pressure right now. Might drop out of the top 6 as Newens throws it to the inside going down the front chute.
Just to show you, here is the spread, the 25. The dot there, the white dot for the number 25, that is your race leader.
Oh,
Brandon Lowe's. J.D. Woodward, and now here comes McFadden around Woodward again.
Just completely overcooked turn 1. Luckily, he didn't hit anything yet.
Oh,
as,
boy.
We're 3 wide going down the back chute.
Yeah, 3 abreast, definitely, and they all single file out as they head onto the back straightaway. As Woodward goes into and through the bus stop properly, McFadden does as well. Same thing with Shane Newens. But Newens will get the better run through the carousel, and he will now pass Mark McFadden for the 7th spot. Or pardon me, for the 6th position, my bad.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are, trying to figure it out right now as Newens finally wrestles it away from McFadden. McFadden going to try to battle back coming out of 8 in the slipstream coming down the front chute. McFadden's struggling here tonight. I mean, he doesn't He's not greatly off the pace, but he doesn't have the pace as some of the others around him.
Also be the fact that he just doesn't have the confidence to push this car. And you can hear, just listen, how light he's being up the hill, and that also could be why he's falling back a little bit. Fastest car on track right now is the man who currently leads this race in the 25 of Brandon Lowe's. As Lowe's heads into the inner loop, Shane Newen's battling with J.D. Woodward. These are the final 3 cars that are on the lead lap, by the way. Nicholas Wing now being scored as 1 lap down. Greg LeBlanc, Ryan Decker the same. As we are now inching closer and closer, we're about 13 laps away, about 15 laps away, pardon me, from the competition caution that's going to come out on lap 38.
How many laps down did you say Nick Wing was?
I believe 2, maybe?
3.
3, okay.
And Jason Papp bringing it back pit side.
Jason Papp has had himself quite an evening. Same thing with the 19, the 26 has had an evening as well. Ryan Worley joined late, 10 laps down now. Or pardon me, 9 laps down in the 00. Had connection issues on the grid, which is why he returned late.
Yeah, but he still has enough time to pick that 13th spot from Cody Strom. And, should anybody else have major issues, he still has his fast repair in his pocket, and that car is pretty clean.
I believe Cody Strom is done for the evening. Jason Papp might not be too far behind in the 1, so there's another position he can pick off. Shane Newens jumps up into the 5th position in the number 98. Bit of a lockup in turn 1, but still able to hold exit fairly well. Javon Cherry comes into pit road. So the first of the leaders to come in, and he will do so on lap 25. So we saw Trafari get around him. Greg McConey coming down the hill in that number 12 now. Mark McFadden trying to chase down J.D. Woodward once again. As Woodward looking slow in that number 47 right now. Not sure.
Well, as many times as he's gone off-road, it wouldn't surprise me if he's suffering from severe tire troubles, as McFadden all over his back bumper as they haul it into turn number 8.
Yep, absolutely could be it. And I know it's not modeled in here, but I'm sure in real life these guys are going to have to worry about diffuser damage if they run off course.
Mm-hmm.
So you see that rear diffuser there on the back of the number 5. Brandon Lowe's deciding to stay out another lap. Connor Trafari decides to pit on this lap. So Trafari will come in, and remember, these guys only have to go another 11 laps before they're coming in for fuel and tires again. Mandatory 2-tire minimum pit stop under the competition caution that's going to be coming out.
Well, I mean, considering it's going to be a 10-lap shootout at the end of this thing, you'd be crazy not to take, a set of tires there. Top it off with fuel and, well, actually, you wouldn't even really need to top it off for fuel because these guys have already proven that they can go 27 laps on a tank and go fast. So you fuel it up now and you're golden till the end. And then, take a set of tires now, take a set of tires and the competition caution, and you should be golden from that point forward.
We saw there on replay Javon Cherry hitting the wall between 6 and 7. As Brandon Lowe's brings it down pit road from the race lead. Greg McConey 23 seconds behind him going through turn 6 now. And McConey will stay out in an attempt to lead the lap. Javon with that mistake now 3.7 seconds ahead of Trafari for what would be the effective second position. So I'm sure Cherry will definitely be looking towards that competition caution to get that damage fixed. Greg McConey here as well. Heading up the hill out of turn 5, or head out of 4, pardon me. Up the hill into the inner loop. As J.D. Woodward now starting his return volley on Shane Newens for 5th.
So Newens coming through 1 right now, leading it into 2 that starts the S's. Nice and tidy through turn 2, up into turn 3, which is the off-camber left-hander. And then into 4, and down the back chute they go. And that is a very slow car in front of them.
I believe that is Kyle Klotz. It is in the 19. Mark McFadden, Greg LeBlanc, both in pit road. McFadden on his way out, LeBlanc on his way in. Greg McConey stays out an extra lap. As Javon Cherry just set the fastest lap of the race at a 1:11.37, a half a second quicker than the previous fastest lap of the race. As Connor Trafari is back in pit road.
That's weird.
It's intriguing for certain. Showing he may have had a problem. He may have gotten a meatball flag here. It's a stop-go for the 48.
Looks like possibly quick repair. Wow.
And it was J.D.
Woodward.
Yeah, we'll show that. We'll show that here in a second. As Trafari just goes right through. Wow. Okay.
What?
So Trafari blasts right through the inner loop and then spins it out under braking into the carousel. And that would explain what happened to the 48.
Strange.
Brandon Lowe's.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon Lowe's sets the fastest lap of the race at a 1:11.14. As Trafari now way out of shape, coming through 6, able to keep it on circuit. I will say this for Connor, there was nobody around him as far as positions go, so he didn't really gain much from that. Especially having dumped it going through the carousel immediately after. He certainly didn't gain from it. We all good?
I just went back and looked at what he was doing coming through 7. Yeah, you just almost binned it on the exit of 7 there, going into or the penultimate corner, if you will.
So take a look now at what happened. There was J.D. Woodward right when we picked Trafari up out of pit road. This is what happened to Woodward. Too much gas on the curb out of 1, and that's what put Woodward in the position he was in.
And it's something we bring up every time we're here. Every time we're here, we mention it, that coming on the exit of 1, you can put 2 tires. You can leave 2 tires on the racing surface, or all 4 tires on the racing surface, or put all 4 tires in that runoff area on the exit of 1. Don't try to straddle that curb, because all you're going to do is a 50-50 rail grind like you're on a skateboard.
That's because these cars do sit so low, and I have a feeling that is going to be a major part of the remodel of this racing surface. As you see position 1 heading into the corner, and then coming out of the carousel in the background was position number 2. That's a 7.1 second gap between the 25 and the 20, and now with the 48 having his issues, that promotes Greg McConey up into the 3rd position. He is 16 and a half seconds behind the top pair of Lowe's and Cherry. Is a little bit of a slide there through turn 6 for McConey. As Jafari now trying to get around Shane Newens, and successfully does get around Shane Newens coming out of the carousel into turn number 6 for position number 4.
Interesting tidbit of information. Ryan Decker, J.D. Woodward, and Shane Newens all have not pit yet, and we are working starting lap 32.
I mean, in the typical, if you remember going all the way back to the 90s and the early 2000s, it was a very nice race as far as strategy goes if it went green, because you'd pit on lap 30, you'd pit on lap 60, and then by lap 90 the race would be over. So that's kind of at least my mindset coming into this race is, okay, I'm going to pit twice. It's going to be on lap 90, it's going to be on lap 30, it's going to be on lap 60. And then that's it, as J.D. Woodward now finally comes down pit road. But yeah, we're running a little bit longer than that.
And you got to remember, these cars now have fuel injection in them, so they don't have those big gas guzzling carburetors like the cars were doing back then, where you would see them go 32 laps before they pit.
Absolutely. As Brandon Lowe's heads into the inner loop. Take a look at what's coming up next here on ESPN. A doubleheader tomorrow. The MX-5 Pro Series. They will be from Sebring coming up tomorrow afternoon, 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time start. Then the nightcap on Tuesday night will be the Western States Racing League, round number 6 from the Chicagoland Speedway. That race will start at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time. One leg of the Wednesday doubleheader is missing this week. Sim Racer's Edge is off, so we're working with the Endurance for Amateurs Series. They will be at Daytona at 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time, so they'll have Wednesday nights back to themselves after having to share with Sim Racer's Edge for a month. And from what I'm hearing, they're going to be sharing the racetrack with some of the Sim Racer's Edge guys, as those guys have decided to participate, some of them at least, have decided to participate at Daytona for the Endurance for Amateur Series on this off week. And then on Thursday will be the TNT Truck Series from Auto Club. That will be round number 11 out of 18 for that series. That'll be at 7:50 p.m. Eastern Time from Fontana, California. And then on Friday will be the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. They will be in the ARCA cars at Daytona, and then it will be the season 3 finale for the E-Formula 3.5 Series. They will be running at the Circuit of the Americas to close out season 3. And after an incredible race at Twin Ring Motegi last time out, it is certainly going to be a fantastic season finale and a championship to be decided when we head to Austin, Texas, as Shane Newens hits pit road. Now Ryan Decker, the only one that has not come in at this point, and we're a couple laps away from getting to that competition caution. Working lap 35 right now. And on lap 37, going to lap 38, the competition caution will fly.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Brandon Lowe's right now just in control. 7.5 seconds to the good over Javon Cherry, and Cherry's 25 seconds to the good over Greg Marconi. Connor Trafari just trying to keep it, between the mayo right now. The mayo and the mustard, as you will, is the white line and the yellow line, and that seems to be the problem all night long is just overdriving the car.
We've seen a lot of guys doing that here tonight. Even the two race leaders who have seemed invincible have both caught themselves in a little bit of misfortune here tonight. So nobody is safe from the ever looming mistake here at Watkins Glen.
And they just closed the pits.
So working lap 36 right now. So the competition caution should be coming out in 2 laps time. And again, the caution laps will not count here under this competition caution. And there will be a mandatory pit stop where you have to take at least 2 tires on this upcoming pit stop in order to fulfill the requirement. And then we'll be off and racing for about a 10-11 lap shootout here to get to the full 48.
The only two guys that had me worried about whether or not they have tires even left are Nick Wing and Kyle Klotz, as they have both been down pit road recently for extended stops, and they put tires on. This is going to be each one of their 3rd pit stop. So, they should have 1 pair of tires left.
Speak of the devil, Kyle Klotz is stopped. I believe that's on the entry to the S's.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and now he'll tow it back to pit road in that number 19, and I'm not sure how much longer he's going to be continuing. As this is coming out of turn 1.
Jeepers.
Hits the grass and then hard on the inside. That's motor blown. We know he's taken a fast repair, so that should be ball game for the number 19. The number 12 has run into an issue, and that has brought the 48 of Connor Trafari right up to him as they head down into turn number 1. McConey trying to hold on to that 3rd position and will slide the car through turn 1. A little bit of contact between the 12 and the 48. Stops the 48 on pit exit. McConey keeps going. Trafari keeps going. And McConey now has about a 4-second gap to the 48.
There's the caution.
Yep, and there is the competition caution right there as Brandon Lowe's comes across the line to take lap 38. So that caution came in the nick of time. You're going to see timing and scoring mess up a little bit here as it tends to do in these circumstances where caution laps do not count.
Now, the big question is, when we saw Trafari come down after his excursion out of the carousel, and he backed it into the Armco there, did he burn his fast repair at that point?
Not sure if he did. Let's take a look at what happened between these two. This is McConey prior to that turn 1 incident. This is going into 6.
7.
No, it's 6. As he just spins it just a little too much rear brake and loops it around. And then there comes Trafari. Trafari's right there with them. Try to see from overhead as they head down into turn 1. McConey was a little hot on the brakes and just slid the car in the middle, and there's really no fault there. I mean, of course, you could fault the 12 for spinning, but 48 also left really nowhere to go as they try to catch back up to the rest of the group. And pit stops will be coming here momentarily, as everyone will head down pit road.
Now the guy's on the lead lap will anyways.
Yeah. Which is down to the fast 4 we had in the practice session. Lowe's, Cherry, McConey, Trifari. So we'll see which one of these four gets the run out as Lowe's blows through his pit box. Cherry does as well. McConey blows through his. Does Trifari make it 4 for 4? No, he almost stopped short.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Brandon Lowe's down and away. Cherry takes his fast repair. Trifari working on damage on his car. And is going to get out ahead of the 12 of Greg McConey. So with that, the competition caution is out. We will take a quick break. We'll be right back. You are watching round number 23 of the Rowdy Energy Cup Series from Watkins Glen International. Under the competition caution here, we will have 10 laps to go when we go back to green flag action here at Watkins Glen. About to go back to green flag racing here from the competition caution. Round number 23, pardon me, from Watkins Glen International. 11 laps to go once we go back to green flag racing. Brandon Lowe's, Javon Cherry, Greg McConey, Mark McFadden, Shane Newens, the top 5. J.D. Woodward, Greg LeBlanc, Connor Trafari has been shoved down to the 8th position with Ryan Decker in the 28 as the final car on the lead lap. And I think Trafari may have gotten an EOL here somewhere because he is all the way back now in the 9th position when he was the 4th and final car on the lead lap. So
he got popped for something, and I don't know what.
Yeah, something certainly did happen as we get ready to go back to green flag racing here. Brandon Lowe's, Javon Cherry, Dream Team Inc. locking out the front row. These two have been the dominant force up at the front all night long, but in an 11-lap duel, anything can happen here at Watkins Glen. Pace car is off. Green flag is back in the air. We have 11 to go here at the Glen.
J.D. Woodward almost getting into, I believe that was Marconi in front of him. There it is.
There they go. That was Greg LeBlanc hitting the 12 of McConey going into 1 and then wiping out J.D. Woodward at the process. LeBlanc has immediately towed it back to pit road, and that leaves 1 and 2 with a 2-second advantage before they even get to the top of the hill, and Trafari is stopped at the top of the hill. Boy, this is what we were expecting at the start, as I think Trafari, where in the world did he go?
Trafari
blinked out on my end.
Infield Care Center.
I'm sorry, he got hit going up the hill. As here are the top 2. Shane Newens right now runs in 3rd.
No, he didn't get hit. He tried to, Boris said the safer barrier at the top of the hill.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll take a look and see.
That car's a mess.
Let's take a look. We'll take a look at the start here. This is the 27 of Greg LeBlanc. Way too late on the brakes. See the 47 locking up. And the 27 takes out both the 12 and the 47 on the race start. And then we'll follow Connor Trafari up the hill. He's running in the 3rd position right now. Has Shane Newens behind him. And then just as we had said, at the top of the hill.
See what I'm saying?
Yep, it's going to pull. It'll pull you either left or it's either going to push you all the way to the right. And this time it pulled Trafari all the way around to the left.
Yeah, that was a complete 4-wheel drift. He just ate both sets of Armcos at the top of the hill, coming out of 4, and it just good night.
Wow.
He wasted no time putting it on the hauler. Same thing goes with Greg LeBlanc.
And while we were watching the replay of what happened on the first lap, Brandon Lowe's had an off. This is through the inner loop. And that got really close between him and the 20. As that has now allowed Javon Cherry to take over the race lead for the first time tonight. So we've had
luckily those two guys are teammates, or else that could have probably ended a lot more poorly than it did.
Absolutely. Ryan Worley, by the way, we were talking about him being 9 laps down. He has worked himself by way of DNFs. He has worked his way up from 14th up to as high as 11th, with the possibility of getting as high as 9th here tonight. He does have enough time to pull the laps on Trafari and LeBlanc back and make the passes on those two, and might get another one depending upon whether or not Nicholas Wing returns to the racetrack. As here's McConey and J.D. Woodward in the 47 battling for the 5th spot.
I was just doing the quick math, and yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle for Worley to, pick those spots off.
Worley has the time. Oh, here comes turn 7. No more back end on the 12 anymore, as now J.D. Woodward picks up the spot. And
there's
McConey,
the receipt.
Yep, gives a shot. And I don't know if that was a receipt or not, because the 12, I'm sure, I bet you he probably thinks the 47 is the one who took him out, because he was the one he was racing. But that wouldn't make sense, because the 12 was under the was under the 47. So that was just McConey getting in too hot there.
No, the 47 is the one who took him out on the opening salvo.
No, the 47 was on the outside. He had gone to the outside and locked up. Then it was the 27 of LeBlanc that took him out and then went up through the 47. Still this battle here.
You're right. I just went back and looked.
Up through turn 6. Woodward runs a little wide, is able to keep the car straight at least. Now with 7 laps to go, Javon Cherry has the task of trying to, 1, make this 2-second gap last as long as it possibly can, because Brandon Lowe's just put ones up across the board, a 1:11.11 as his fastest lap.
Okay, Brandon, save some for the rest of the children. It
was a 1:11.11 is the fastest lap of the race. Javon Cherry not that long ago posted the fastest lap of the race at a 1:11.18. There's only about 0.2 in it between those two on this last lap, as J.D. Woodward has had another off through the inner loop, so that will that'll take the pressure off of McConey from behind. And now he can focus that energy on Mark McFadden in front in what is a battle for 4th. And Brandon's done it again, a 1:10.84 fastest lap of the race naturally.
Peepers.
The only driver in this session here that has been able to eclipse the 1:11s and get into the 1:10s.
And that includes the hot lap session and qualifying session. So It's not just, it's not just the fastest lap of the race. It's the fastest lap of the day for these guys.
Javon Cherry with a 1:11.22. So even then, on just 0.04 of a second off his best lap, he's still 0.4 slower than the 25 right now. As here's the battle for 4th, as McConey tries to get under McFadden. McFadden defending a little bit harder than what he was doing earlier tonight, and is able to defend this position from the 12, at least for now.
Yeah, McFadden seems to have gotten it figured out. I mean, yeah, we're working lap 43, getting ready to start lap 44, 48, but McFadden seems to... Big move from Marconi, and here comes Woodward as well.
It might have been a late dive, but McConey held the line.
Oh, yeah, that was a nice tidy line through the penultimate corner.
And McFadden jumped out of the way.
Gave him room, and I think he's probably just waiting for J.D. Woodward to have another off to get back into the top 5.
Yeah, those two have been passing each other left and right. Woodward gets in front of McFadden and then immediately goes off track and gives the position back up. As we'll see, I think McFadden's passed Woodward about 7 or 8 times that way alone here tonight.
Now the big question is, does Marconi A, have enough time, and B, have enough car to try to reel in Shane Newens and knock the Aussie off the podium?
It's a 5.5 second gap that he has to make up to Shane Newens. We'll get a better look this time upcoming when McConey can put down a solid lap where he's not battling anybody. But here is the battle right now as Javon Cherry just sets his best lap of the race at a 1:11.11. Brandon Lowe's a 1:11.12. Take a look at the graphic there. Just shows how that gap has been coming down over these last couple of laps.
And Frank, I'm going to say this right now. Being as you are one of the team managers for ESPN Endurance Racing.
I am. That's news to me.
Yes, you are. And the team principal right now is having medical issues. We may want to reach out to the driver of the 20 and the driver of the 25 and see if they might want to join us for, I believe it's Le Mans coming up.
No, it's the, I think it's the 6 hours at Daytona, I believe.
That's what it is. I knew it was one of those big races.
That might be something I could discuss if they're not entering a car already.
There you go.
I will say this pair here, along with a couple of other guys that we've seen in the series before, Christian Vasquez, Ben Bruno, and Louis Bussa, I believe, was the fifth one on the team, have won the 24 at Daytona 3 years in a row.
Our very own Ben Bruno?
Classes. Ben Bando, pardon me, I'm sorry.
I was going to say.
My apologies.
Last I knew, Ben was only a dirt guy.
So, I mean...
Don't scare me like that.
It's been a ruse this whole time.
Popsicle sticks in the air. Lowe's reeling in. Cherry hand over fist right now. Only about 7 car lengths separate the two. Lowe's just kind of stalking his teammate as, there we go, Popsicle sticks finally in the air for those two. 2 laps to go, Frank.
About a 1/10.5 quicker there. Take a look at the last couple of laps. Cherry was able to, Lowe's was able to claw, a 0.4 of a second back. 2 laps ago, he got a 1/10.5 this time. As Ryan Worley has jumped up into that 8th position, so he has passed Nicholas Wing, who is retired. We know LeBlanc and Trafari are done as well. So Ryan Worley will be the highest finishing car not on the lead lap here tonight, and that was him starting 10 laps off the pace. So I would say solid night for old 00.
Great recovery drive for the debut of the new paint scheme.
Yeah, absolutely. As we'll see white flag in the air here this time. It's going to be either the 20 or the 25, as these two have a 22.5 second advantage over Shane Newens. You see Javon trying to break that draft with everything that he could possibly manage. Going down into turn 1. This run up the hill could be crucial, and it might have been over right there as Lowe's slips out of 1.
Yeah, Lowe's just did his best tryout for the next Tokyo Drift movie, and luckily saved it. So safely on the podium, but definitely gave up about half a second to his teammate on that one.
And Greg McConey, we're talking about him trying to gain some time back. He's actually lost about a second to the 98 of Newens, so Newens well and truly safe on the podium as well. I believe his first podium of the season for the 98 of Newens as they come through the carousel on their way into the final corner. Boy, Lowe's has brought back about 3/4 of a second just through the last couple of corners alone, was a second quicker. Then Cherry is, boy, a wiggle there out of 6. Coming through 7. No one is stopping the 20 here today. Javon Cherry comes across the line. He will win here at Watkins Glen. Brandon Lowe's, who's had the dominant car all day, finishes in second. About 8/10 of a second off of Javon, who was gifted the race lead after a mistake by the 25. And now we'll see coming out of turn number 7, as Ryan Worley spins behind him, Shane Newens. comes away with his first podium of the year in the number 98. He looked on the pace tonight. Greg McConey coming home in 4th. And how about number 5 coming home in P5? Mark McFadden, as Ryan Worley is finishing this doggone race.
You got to respect the tenacity that Worley has shown.
I'll do it backwards.
Well, I mean, when you
might as well
blow all your forward gears and have to finish any way you can, hey, put some style on it.
Absolutely. As for Javon Cherry, who came into this race, I believe, 5th in points.
6th.
6th in points.
But
well and truly locked into the playoffs at this point.
5 wins for Cherry. This makes number 6.
This will be number 6. We'll take a look at how he got the race lead. Coming back from the green flag. It was this moment right here on lap 39. Brandon Lowe's going through the bus stop. And Cherry making the pass and was able to hold on to the lead that he was given. After the 27 had the dominant car all race long. I believe Tony should be with him momentarily. Let's bring him in now. Tony, you are with our race winner.
Javon Cherry, 6th win of the season. Congratulations on the victory here tonight at Watkins Glen, sir.
Thank you, guys. All that competition caution at the end really helped us there. As you saw, I think that's the only way I was really going to be able to get him. He definitely had more speed than me there at the end.
Well, I mean, you two were battling it back and forth all race long for who was going to get the fast lap of the race. You both just were blistering the track and the competition. Talk us through that last restart and what you were able to see, what was going on behind you.
To be honest, I didn't really see much. They've been crazy on the starts all day. I think the first start, someone threw it 3 wide going in the first corner on the first lap. So I knew that was going to be another one of those crazy restarts there. And then I think that almost happened again. And then I look in my mirror and everybody is spinning behind me. So I just wanted to make sure I gave myself enough of a gap, hopefully, to where if they wreck, I'm not involved, because that would have been a heartbreak there at the end.
Well, Javon, you definitely kept your cool. And Frank and I were mentioning that when you did take the lead there with a handful to go, that it was a good thing that you and Brandon are teammates, or else that probably could have ended 8 different kinds of poorly coming through the inner loop.
Yeah, I saw him when you kind of, came back on the track there. I knew he wasn't trying to hit me or anything, but yeah, he made it a little closer than I would have liked. It's such a heartbreak for him, because he was perfect all day, and then there at the end, one little walk up, and I was just able to take the lead. I'll tell you, I don't think I've ever looked in my rearview mirror so much there at the end, because I knew if he caught me, I know he was going to give me a bump, which I was expecting. But thank God he definitely wasn't able to close that second gap that I had on him.
Well, Javon, you got your 6th win of the season this week, and we continue with the road racing next week as the series moves to the Indy Road Course. Your thoughts going into that pretty technical layout there?
Yeah, I've never even ran it really, so to be honest, I have no idea what to expect. This is my second road course win of the season. So I think I have a pretty decent chance to at least finish. Hopefully finish well would probably be asking too much, but if I can finish the race next week, I'd be pretty proud of just that.
All right, one more question before we let you go. How difficult was it to navigate the top of the S's? Because that seems to be where Calamity Corner was tonight for most guys.
Yeah, going through the S's, I don't know what everybody else was doing, but I was short shifting to fourth. The minute I came off of turn one, I would go to third and then fourth. And then I'm just pedaling it pretty much throughout the S's. Even though, it's fourth gear, you think you can get less wheel spin, still going uphill, up elevation. It still gets really light there and wants to step out. So that was a pretty tough part of the track, making you think you had the grip that you really didn't have.
All right, Javon, one more time, congratulations on your 6th victory of the season. Is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to thank Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, iRacing, iFlag, Butt Kicker, Midwest Motor Customs, all the guys that make this possible with the sponsors. I want to thank the admins for, keeping this going, putting this together, really having fun here. You guys for putting out a hell of a broadcast. I'm sure you guys had good fun there at the end. Shout out to my teammate Brandon. I know he wanted that win, and I'm really sorry he didn't get it. I know that was such a heartbreak, and I definitely feel for him. But with the speed he has, I know he'll be back in victory lane before the season ends.
All right, Javon, looking forward to seeing what you can do next week at Indy, and we'll let you go celebrate with your team.
Thanks, guys.
And Frank, I believe you've got the Canadian crippler Brandon Lowe's with you now.
I should here just momentarily as Brandon, you one mistake, well, one major mistake all
Hold
night
on.
long here, and that's
There he
all
is.
yeah, there we go. So Brandon, one major mistake here all night long, and unfortunately, it comes at the worst possible time and costs you a win.
Yeah, it's not what we needed tonight. Led the whole race. Came off pit road first and blew it when it mattered most, unfortunately.
How difficult was it to keep the back end of the car under you tonight? I mean, we saw guys slipping and sliding all over the place, whether it be up the S's, turn 6, coming out of 1. How difficult was it to really put the power down and set a lap like you said at the end there at a 1:10.84?
Yeah, I don't know. It was all a lot of throttle control, which is where I feel like I shine most. So just keeping the back under it is really important. Being that initial stab of brake is always important, and just letting it roll through. And I found we were just ridiculously fast throughout the bus stop there, and could make up time there. And it definitely got a little light though through the S's, so you just kind of had to baby it there.
All right, we head to another road course, a little bit of redemption coming up next week to the road course at Indianapolis, the Grand Prix road course, not the bike road course. What are your thoughts going into there for your first Cup race?
Yeah, I've never run it in a Cup car. I've only ever run it in a Riley Daytona prototype, like 7 years ago. So that'll be interesting.
So you're up on your practice.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I only said I practiced more than 30 minutes for this race. This track is so good to me. But looking forward to it. We finished second at Sonoma, second tonight. Could have run second at Road America. Could have. So hopefully we can do one better next week.
Yep, hopefully. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, absolutely. First, thank the league sponsors, Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, iRacing, iFlag, Butt Kicker, and Midwest Motor Customs. Thank you guys for putting on the broadcast that you always do. It's always top tier. Thanks to all the admins of the league as well. Congratulations to Javon. He ran a stellar race the whole night, and obviously him being my teammate, if I'm going to lose the race to anyone, it might as well be him. So good job to him, and yeah, see you guys next week, I suppose.
All right, so there is your second place finisher tonight, Brandon Lowe's. Bud, congratulations.
Thanks. Take care.
So now Tony should momentarily here be with our third place finisher, Shane Newens.
Shane Newens, your first podium of the season. Let me be the first to say Aussie, Aussie, Aussie to you, sir. Congratulations.
That's for sure. Thank you, mate. I just want to say I've got so much respect for the drivers in this series. I really rate their skills, especially the guys up front. So to be on the podium is a big thing for me. Thank you.
Well, we saw that during that opening salvo just before the competition caution came out, you were able to do 34 laps on that tank of fuel. Were you in fuel conservation mode from the get-go, or I mean, were you just able to you just get more out of the tank than anybody else was?
To be honest, I drive raw, so I just run on instinct. And today it worked.
Now, for the casual fan in your local area, explain just. I know there's a difference other besides one being right-hand drive and one being left-hand drive. How differently do you have to attack this car as opposed to the Australian V8 supercar that iRacing has given us?
In handling they're a completely different beast, and in acceleration as well. There's 600 horsepower in the supercar, and it's all to the ground immediately. So it takes a long time to get a handle on that car. This car's a bit different, where it's just a lot looser at speed.
Well, you mentioned loose. We saw a lot of guys having issues getting into the inner loop, coming out of the S's, and the penultimate corner. That seems to be where everybody was having problems tonight. Just how sketchy was it in those corners tonight?
I'm fairly inexperienced and have no real world driving experience, only dirt bikes. But what I'd say is just carrying the speed as much as you could through the corner and not working the accelerator was producing better lap times.
All right. Well, Shane, we go from the rolling hills of Watkins Glen to next week, the road course at Indianapolis, the Grand Prix layout. Your thoughts going into that facility next week?
I'm not sure I've raced the road course there, so that will be interesting. All I can say is in Australia we don't do a lot of oval racing or have any real oval racing history. So I'm bound to do a little bit better on the road courses.
All right. Well, Shane, we're looking forward to seeing what you can do next week. You definitely made Darwin proud. And of course, those of you wondering what I'm talking about, Darwin in the Northern Territories of Australia. You definitely did those folks proud tonight, putting it on the podium here at the Glen. Is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go celebrate?
Yeah, just a quick reference for you. Darwin's roughly where Crocodile Dundee was made.
Nice.
I'd like. I'm very proud to fly the Aussie flag and the Northern Territory flag, of course. I'd like to thank my wife Leah, daughter Victoria, the Lactalis company who supply a great range of milk products, etc. Get online, they're in the US and Australia. I'd also like to thank the admin in Jason and Greg and anyone else there. Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, iRacing, iFlag, Butt Kicker, and Midwest Motor Customs. And just finally, I'd like to say thank you to you commentators, because I love oval racing and road course racing with the US guys, but I don't have any knowledge of it. We didn't really get to watch it on live free-to-air TV. So I get a lot of tips from you guys in the commentary, and I just want to thank you for your knowledge.
Well, you're quite welcome, sir, and thank you for putting on an amazing show tonight. We're looking forward to seeing what you can do at the Twisties at the Brickyard next week.
Have a great night.
You too, sir.
So there was your third place finisher tonight, Shane Newens, and I'll tell you what, if he's getting his oval tips from us, I'm surprised.
I was going to say the same thing.
He's not worse off than he is. So a fantastic night. You can't help but smile when you listen to Shane Newens give that interview there. This is a guy who's here every single week. We also see him in the Friday night series as well, the Super Speedway series. Just never seems to get the finish that his quality of racing deserves. And finally, here tonight, he got it done. He got on the podium. And when you see somebody put so much work in, and again, trying something that's completely out of his comfort zone and out of his realm of knowledge in the oval racing, it's really nice to see when that all finally comes together.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet. I've had a chance to talk to him a couple times, before some of the events in other series. But, just you could hear it in his voice tonight that was fun to him. And it's great to see him finally get the finishes that he deserves, running up towards the front. And this is going to be a huge boost for him in points too, because there's a lot. I'm looking at the point standings right now. There's a lot of guys who coming into tonight were in front of him in points that didn't show up here tonight.
Yeah, you're right. This is going to be an absolutely massive boost for him. But right now, let's start to wind down the evening. We'll go and take a look at the official results here tonight. Only 7 drivers finishing on the lead lap here tonight. Javon Cherry taking win number 6 of the season. Brandon Lowe's coming home in second position. Shane Newens, as you heard, finishing in third. Greg McConey comes home in fourth. Mark McFadden, P5. J.D. Woodward, Ryan Decker round out the lead lap finishers. Ryan Worley, Nicholas Wing, and Greg LeBlanc round out the top 10. Connor Trafari, Jason Papp, Kyle Klotz, Cody Strom rounding out the drivers that started this race that ended with a DNF. Henry Wyndham did not start the race in the number 15. So with that, it's time to start saying goodbye here from Watkins Glen. We'll take a look again at the upcoming schedule here on ESPN. We have a doubleheader coming up tomorrow. The MX5 Pro Series will be from Sebring International Raceway tomorrow at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. Jake Sperry will be in the booth. I can guarantee you that. What we can't guarantee is who will be with him in the booth tomorrow. Coming up on tomorrow night will be the Western States Racing League. That will be from Chicagoland Speedway, round number 6. Tony and Ben Bruno will be in the booth for that race. That will start at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming up on Wednesday will be the Endurance for Amateurs, round number 8 from Daytona International Speedway. That will be at 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time start, and they will be the only show on with Sim Racers Edge off this week. On Thursday night will be the TNT Truck Series from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. That'll be a 7:50 p.m. Eastern Time start. On Friday will be the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series from Daytona. And then on Saturday will be the eFormula 3.5 Series Season 3 finale from the Circuit of the Americas. So for my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. We will see you all next week for the Grand Prix of Indianapolis, round number 24, here for the Rowdy Energy Cup Series, and we will see you tomorrow for not only the MX5 Pro Series from Sebring, but for the Western States Racing League from Chicago. Good night, everybody.